Dear starseeds scattered across Gaia's surface, have you been feeling like everything internal has shifted, but your external reality refuses to match it? Have you been asking yourself lately whether you can really pull off this transformation you've been working toward, whether the dreams building inside you are too big, whether that voice whispering, "Can I really do this?" is speaking truth or fear? There is a reason these questions intensify, meow, a reason your confidence wavers precisely when you thought you had finally arrived at certainty. What I am about to reveal will explain why this specific pattern is occurring, why tomorrow changes everything, and why three impossible things are about to converge that will either catalyze your greatest leap forward or leave you watching from the sidelines as others claim the destiny that could have been yours. I am Zarin, speaking to you from the Lyran High Council, and the message I carry tonight cannot wait. There is an urgency rippling through the galactic frequencies, a knowing among those of us who watch over Earth's ascension that the window opening before you demands immediate recognition. Time, as you understand it, is about to become fluid in ways your logical mind cannot yet comprehend, and those who are prepared will ride this wave into territories of consciousness that have remained locked for generations. But first, you must understand what makes you different from the sleeping masses who will experience these coming weeks as mere inconvenience or chaos. You carry ancient coding within your cellular memory, activation sequences that respond to specific cosmic alignments, and what approaches meow is not random planetary movement, but a divinely orchestrated awakening trigger designed specifically for souls like yours. I have watched many of you for years, meow, tracked your progress through countless initiations, witnessed your dark nights and your breakthrough moments, and I tell you this, everything you have experienced was preparation for what begins tomorrow. There is something else I must reveal about why you specifically are receiving this message. You remember that feeling, do not you? That sensation of something approaching underground, something you could not see but could sense moving toward you. That instinct was not imagination. For the past 6 months since the summer solstice, an energetic wave has been building beneath the surface of your reality, invisible to physical eyes but tangible to those whose spiritual senses have awakened. This wave carries with it the accumulated power of every transformation you have undergone, every shadow you have integrated, every limiting belief you have alchemized. It has been gathering momentum, pulling together threads from your past, present, and future selves, weaving them into a singular point of manifestation. Tomorrow, when Mercury stations retrograde, this underground river breaks the surface, and what has been invisible becomes undeniable. The next 3 weeks will separate those who have been doing the inner work from those who remain attached to illusion. Mercury's retrograde journey from Sagittarius back into Scorpio, beginning tomorrow on November 9th and lasting until November 29th, represents far more than the mundane communication disruptions your mainstream astrologers warn about. This is a sacred spiral backward through territory already traveled, but you are not the same being who walked that path before. Every retrograde offers review, but this particular passage carries the weight of finality, Uranus making its last degrees through Taurus, Saturn and Neptune, completing their final dance through Pisces. These are closing ceremonies for entire chapters of human and personal evolution. The universe is asking you to gather the harvest of your experiences, to sort through the wisdom gained from years of shadow work, spiritual seeking, and conscious transformation. What must be released will make itself known with undeniable clarity. What can be salvaged will reveal itself as pure gold, ready for alchemical transformation into something you cannot yet imagine. But here is what I have not told you yet. There is a specific sequence these revelations will follow, a pattern that will repeat 3 times during this retrograde, and recognizing this pattern is the key to navigating what comes next. Something else is happening beneath the surface of these transits that I have not yet told you. While Mercury reviews the past and asks you to reconsider old conclusions, Uranus is simultaneously breaking apart the last structures of material security and outdated values. For 7 years, Uranus has been shaking the foundations of what humanity thought was solid, reliable, and permanent. financial systems, relationship paradigms, environmental stability, the very ground beneath your feet, all of it has been questioned, disrupted, and revolutionized. As this revolutionary force prepares to shift into Gemini, it is completing one final sweep through Taurus, asking you to release your death grip on false security. The Starseeds receiving this message already know, deep in their bones, that true security comes not from external circumstances, but from trust in divine timing and alignment with cosmic flow. Yet even knowing this intellectually, how many of you still clutch at the familiar, still bargain with the universe to let you keep just one more illusion of control? This brings me to the first convergence, the first thread in a tapestry that will only reveal its full pattern by the end of this retrograde. Uranus in its final Taurus degrees is not just disrupting your material world, it is preparing you for a radical shift in how you communicate your truth, how you share your message, how you connect with your soul tribe. When Uranus moves into Gemini in the coming months, those who have released attachment to false security during this retrograde will find themselves suddenly empowered to speak, write, teach and broadcast their authentic voice in ways that seemed impossible before. But those who cling to the old structures, who refuse to let go of control during these 3 weeks, will find the Gemini transit brings only confusion and scattered energy. This is the first test, the first impossible thing. Can you release your grip on what feels safe so that you can grasp what is real? Meanwhile, Saturn and Neptune together in Pisces have been dissolving the boundaries between dimensions, between dreams and reality, between spiritual fantasy and grounded mysticism. This conjunction has been teaching humanity the difference between escapism and true transcendence. So many lightworkers lost themselves in spiritual bypassing during this transit, floating in ethereal realms while their earthly responsibilities crumbled. But you, those of you meant to receive this transmission, you have been learning the sacred art of walking between worlds. You have discovered that ascension does not mean abandoning the physical plane, but rather bringing heaven's frequencies into material form. Saturn has demanded structure and discipline in your spiritual practice, while Neptune has kept the doors of perception blown wide open. This paradox has been challenging, disorienting at times, but it has trained you for what comes next. Here is the second convergence, the second impossible thing that will test everything you think you know about manifestation. Saturn and Neptune's final passage through Pisces during this retrograde will force you to distinguish between genuine spiritual guidance and wishful thinking, masquerading as intuition. Over the next 3 weeks, you will receive downloads, visions, and intuitive hits that seem crystal clear in the moment, but may contradict each other or shift as Mercury moves backward through Scorpio's emotional depths. This is not the universe confusing you. This is the universe training you to hold paradox, to trust the process even when linear logic breaks down, to distinguish between ego's voice and soul's knowing. The second test, the second impossible thing. Can you trust your intuition even when it defies reason, even when it asks you to make choices that look foolish to outside observers? The convergence of these 3 major planetary conditions creates what we in the higher councils recognize as a portal of profound transformation. Mercury retrograde alone would offer valuable review and integration time. Uranus completing its Taurus journey alone would signify major shifts in values and security. Saturn and Neptune finishing their Pisces passage alone would mark the end of a significant spiritual cycle. But all 3 occurring simultaneously, overlapping in their influence, creates something exponential rather than additive. The energy does not simply combine, it amplifies, intensifies, and opens doorways that appear only once in a lifetime. For the aware soul, this is not a time of fear or dread, but of exhilaration, the kind of electric anticipation that fills your body when you stand at the edge of a cliff, knowing you have wings you have not yet fully tested. Now I must tell you about the third convergence, the third impossible thing that ties everything together and explains why that question, "Can I really do this?" has been haunting you lately. Mercury's retrograde through Scorpio will pull you back through every doubt, every fear, every moment when you questioned your worthiness or capability. It will show you, with unflinching honesty, every place where you still hold limiting beliefs about yourself, every place where old stories still run your programming. This will feel brutal at times, like opening wounds you thought had healed. But here is the hidden gift, the secret purpose of this apparent torture. Each doubt that surfaces is surfacing to be witnessed, acknowledged, and finally released. Mercury is not dragging you backward to punish you. Mercury is showing you exactly what still stands between you and the miracle that has been approaching underground since summer. The third test, the third impossible thing. Can you face every shadow, every fear, every limiting belief without collapsing back into the old identity that those beliefs supported? Can you witness your doubts without believing them, acknowledge your fears without being controlled by them, see your shadows without identifying as them? This is the ultimate challenge of this retrograde, and it is the reason so many will fail to capitalize on this portal. They will encounter their shadows and assume those shadows speak truth about who they are. But you, if you pass this test, will encounter your shadows and recognize them as old costumes you no longer need to wear, old roles you no longer need to play, old stories you no longer need to tell yourself. These three convergences, release of false security, trust in paradoxical guidance, and witnessing shadow without identification, form a trinity of transformation that will completely rebuild your relationship with yourself, your purpose, and your power. They are not separate challenges, but three facets of one initiation, three gates you must pass through to claim what waits on the other side. And what waits on the other side is exactly what you have been building toward since that confidence spike you experienced over the summer. The transformation that made you feel more yourself than ever before, the awakening that showed you glimpses of your true potential before those pre-wedding jitters started creeping in. Let me be explicit about what this means for you personally, because this is where the transmission becomes intimate, tailored to your unique journey. The Mercury retrograde will pull you back through conversations you thought were finished, situations you believed were resolved, and aspects of yourself you assumed were healed. Do not resist this revisitation. These are not setbacks, but rather opportunities to gather wisdom you missed the first time, to see patterns you were not yet conscious enough to recognize, to complete energetic cycles that remained open and draining your life force. Pay attention to what resurfaces between November 9th and November 29th. Old lovers who message out of meowing, job opportunities that mirror past positions, creative projects you abandoned, geographic locations you once called home. These are not random coincidences, but rather the universe offering you one more chance to extract the gold, to understand the lesson, to integrate the shadow, before moving forward into entirely new territory. But something more specific is happening here that connects directly to that sensation you have been experiencing, that feeling of having transformed internally while your external reality has not yet caught up. You have been living in what the ancient mystery schools called the chrysalis stage, the sacred pause between caterpillar and butterfly, and this retrograde marks the final days before emergence. Everything that surfaces during these 3 weeks, every doubt, every fear, every old pattern, is the last residue of the caterpillar consciousness trying to convince you to stay in the cocoon where it felt safe. But you have already dissolved the old form. You have already become something new at the cellular level. The external reflection cannot be delayed much longer, and this is why the jitters intensify meow, why the "can I really do this" question becomes almost unbearable in its persistence. Your mind will want to travel forward into the future during this retrograde, planning and scheming and trying to control outcomes. Sagittarius energy naturally looks ahead, seeks expansion, chases horizons. But Mercury's backward motion will repeatedly pull you into Scorpio's depths, into feelings you have not fully processed, truths you have been avoiding, power you have been afraid to claim. This tension between the desire to move forward and the necessity of going deeper will create friction in your psyche. The key is surrender, allowing the retrograde to take you where you need to go, rather than fighting to maintain forward momentum. Those who surrender will emerge on November 29th with profound clarity, ready to rebuild their lives upon foundations of authentic truth. Those who resist will find themselves repeating the same lessons again in harsher forms later. Here is what happens in the surrender. You discover that what you thought you were afraid of losing was never truly yours to begin with, and what you thought you needed to control was already being orchestrated by forces far more intelligent than ego. The false security Uranus asks you to release reveals itself as a cage that was preventing your expansion. The paradoxical guidance Neptune offers reveals itself as multidimensional truth that linear thinking could never access. The shadows Mercury illuminates reveal themselves as disowned power waiting to be reclaimed and integrated. This is the alchemical magic of these 3 weeks, the transformation that happens when you stop resisting what is and start cooperating with what wants to emerge. But I must tell you about the challenges you will face, not to frighten you but to prepare you for the intensity of this passage and to help you recognize when you are moving through the pattern correctly. Mercury retrograde in Scorpio specifically will dredge up buried emotions, grief, rage, betrayal, desire, feelings you may have convinced yourself were fully processed. Dreams will become vivid and disturbing, filled with symbolic messages your conscious mind struggles to decode. Communication breakdowns will occur not just with technology and travel plans, but in your closest relationships, as hidden resentments and unspoken truths demand acknowledgement. Some of you will experience a crisis of faith as old spiritual beliefs crumble under the weight of your expanding consciousness. What once brought comfort may suddenly feel hollow, and you will find yourself in a dark night of the soul, questioning everything you thought you knew about reality, purpose, and your place in the cosmic order. Remember the pattern I mentioned earlier, the sequence that will repeat 3 times during this retrograde. Here is how it manifests. First, something from your past resurfaces, a person, a memory, an old dream, a forgotten wound. Second, this resurfacing triggers intense emotion and forces you to confront uncomfortable truth. Third, after sitting with this discomfort, a revelation emerges that completely reframes your understanding of that past experience, allowing you to extract wisdom and release what no longer serves. This 3-part cycle will repeat at least 3 times between November 9th and November 29th, and each iteration will go deeper, reach further back, pull up more stubborn roots. By the 3rd cycle, you will find yourself facing origin wounds, core beliefs formed in early childhood, or even carried over from past lives. This is when the real transformation happens, when the deepest healing occurs, when the most profound liberation becomes possible. Uranus in its final degrees of Taurus will bring unexpected disruptions to your financial situation, your living arrangements, or your physical body during this same period. Something you counted on may suddenly disappear. Something you invested in may collapse. Your nervous system, already sensitized by years of energy upgrades, may rebel with anxiety, insomnia, or mysterious physical symptoms that doctors cannot explain. This is your body releasing old cellular memory, purging trauma stored in tissue and bone. The discomfort is temporary but necessary. Saturn and Neptune's influence will blur your boundaries at times, making it difficult to discern where your energy ends and others begin. You may absorb collective fear and confusion, feeling overwhelmed by emotional energies that are not even yours. Energy vampires and unconscious individuals may unconsciously latch onto your light, draining your vitality if you do not maintain strong energetic hygiene. Watch for this specific sign that you are navigating the challenges correctly. When something collapses or falls away, instead of panic, you will feel an unexpected sense of relief or even excitement underneath the initial fear. This relief is your soul celebrating the release of false security, recognizing that something better has space to enter. When boundaries blur and you feel overwhelmed by others' energies, instead of absorbing and personalizing those energies, you will develop an almost automatic ability to observe them passing through without attachment. This is your multidimensional awareness coming online, learning to witness without merging. When shadows surface and doubts arise, instead of identifying with them, you will catch yourself saying, "That is an interesting thought," rather than "I am inadequate." This is your awakened consciousness, maintaining separation between awareness and content of awareness. What I am about to share changes everything you thought you knew about these challenges. They are not obstacles to your transformation, but rather the very mechanism of transformation itself. Your soul did not incarnate at this time to have an easy, comfortable ascension. You came to do the deep work, to face the shadow, to alchemize poison into medicine. Every difficulty arising during this 3-week portal is actually a gift disguised as a problem, an initiation disguised as a crisis. When old emotions surface, they surface to be released, not relived. When relationships break down, they break down to reveal truth, not to cause suffering. When financial structures collapse, they collapse to free you from false security, not to harm you. The universe is not punishing you, it is liberating you from everything that prevents your full embodiment of who you truly are. But here is the revelation that ties all 3 convergences together, the answer to why these specific planetary patterns are occurring at this specific moment in your journey. You have already manifested the transformation you seek. You completed it internally months ago, during that summer breakthrough when your confidence spiked and you felt more yourself than ever. What you are experiencing now is not the transformation itself, but rather the final clearing of debris before the external world can reflect what has already become true in the invisible realms. The doubt, the fear, the "can I really do this?" questioning, these are not evidence that you are unprepared or incapable. These are the death rattles of your old identity, the last desperate attempts of ego to maintain control before it surrenders to soul's authority. This is why that underground current I mentioned at the beginning is so significant. It carries the accumulated power of your completed transformation, and it has been building momentum beneath the surface of your awareness for months. Tomorrow, when Mercury stations retrograde, this energy begins its final approach. By November 29th, when Mercury stations direct, it breaks through into visible manifestation. Between those dates, these 3 weeks, you are living in the liminal space between completion and revelation, between internal transformation and external confirmation. This is the most uncomfortable stage of any metamorphosis, the moment when the caterpillar has dissolved but the butterfly has not yet emerged, when you are nothing but potential wrapped in faith. Consider this: confidence has wavered throughout this week as these energies have been building. You have felt it yourself, moments of doubt creeping in, questions about whether you are truly on the right path, whether your spiritual experiences are real or merely wishful thinking. But today, November 8th, marks a turning point. Today you are being set upon an entirely new course where confidence begins to build around a powerful new sense of purpose and determination. This is not manufactured positivity or spiritual bypassing. This is genuine soul recognition of the importance of what you are about to undergo. Your higher self knows that these next 3 weeks are critical for your evolution, and that knowing is filtering down into your conscious awareness as renewed strength, clarity, and commitment. This is the beginning of the resolution, the first stirrings of the butterfly testing its wings. The preparation required for this passage is both simple and profound. First, you must create sacred space in your life for deep inner work. Clear your calendar of unnecessary obligations. Say no to energy drains and people who pull you into drama. Establish daily practices that ground you in your body, walking in nature, conscious breathing, movement that releases stored tension. Second, you must become ruthlessly honest with yourself about what is true and what is merely a comfortable story you have been telling yourself. Journal without censoring, allowing your deepest thoughts and feelings to flow onto paper where you can witness them with compassion. Third, you must strengthen your energetic boundaries through visualization, protection practices, and conscious awareness of where your energy goes throughout the day. During the peak intensity of this retrograde, particularly around the midpoint in late November, set aside time for ritual and ceremony. Light candles, call in your guides and higher self, and ask to be shown what needs to be released and what needs to be integrated. Work with the element of water to cleanse and purify your energy field. Use sound, drumming, singing bowls, toning to shift stuck energies in your subtle bodies. Pay attention to synchronicities and signs from the universe, as guidance will come in unexpected forms. A conversation overheard in a coffee shop, a passage in a book that falls open to exactly the right page, an animal that crosses your path at a significant moment. These are not coincidences, but rather the universe speaking directly to you in the language of symbol and metaphor. Most importantly, trust the timing of what is unfolding. Your logical mind will want to rush through the discomfort, to skip to the good part, to know how everything turns out before it has even begun. But this retrograde demands patience, presence, and faith in the process. Mercury's backward motion is not a delay or a problem. It is an essential part of the journey, ensuring that you are truly ready for what comes after. Think of it as a sacred pause, a breath held between the inhale of expansion and the exhale of manifestation. In that pause, magic happens. In that stillness, clarity emerges. In that darkness, seeds germinate that will sprout when the light returns. When Mercury stations direct on November 29th, you will not be the same person who entered this portal on November 9th. Something fundamental will have shifted in your consciousness, in your energy field, in your relationship to reality itself. Old patterns of thinking that have plagued you for years will simply dissolve, no longer holding power over your choices. Relationships that were draining your life force will naturally fall away or transform into something mutually supportive and authentic. Creative projects that were stuck in confusion will suddenly have clear direction and momentum. Financial abundance that was blocked by subconscious beliefs about worthiness will begin to flow more freely. Your intuition, already strong, will become almost telepathic in its accuracy. You will find yourself knowing things before they happen, sensing energy shifts before they manifest in the physical world, reading people's true intentions beneath their words. Let me show you exactly how the three convergences resolve and what emerges from their integration. The first convergence, Uranus demanding release of false security, resolves when you discover that letting go of control actually gave you more power than controlling ever did. The opportunities that arrive after November 29th will require you to trust yourself in situations where you have no external validation, no guarantee of success, no safety net. But because you passed the first test during the retrograde, because you released your grip on false security, you will meet these opportunities with a groundedness that comes not from circumstances, but from unshakable knowing of your own capability. This is how Uranus in Taurus completes its work, by teaching you that true security is internal, unchangeable, and always available regardless of external conditions. The second convergence, Saturn and Neptune teaching you to trust paradoxical guidance, resolves when you realize that what seemed like contradictory messages were actually multidimensional truth, revealing itself in sequential layers. The visions you received that seemed to conflict, the intuitive hits that appeared to cancel each other out, the dreams that presented opposite scenarios. These were not confusion, but rather your consciousness expanding to hold multiple timelines, multiple possibilities, multiple truths simultaneously. After November 29th, this capacity to hold paradox becomes your greatest gift. You will be able to see all sides of every situation, understand all perspectives, navigate complexity that would paralyze others. This is how Saturn and Neptune in Pisces complete their work, by upgrading your consciousness from linear either-or thinking to quantum both and awareness. The third convergence, Mercury forcing you to witness shadow without identification, resolves when you finally understand that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your fears, not your doubts. You are the awareness witnessing all of these, the consciousness within which all experience arises and dissolves. This realization, when it fully lands, changes everything. Suddenly that voice asking, "Can I really do this?" is recognized as just a voice, not as truth. The imposter syndrome loses its grip when you understand that the imposter was never you, but rather a character you played, a role you adopted, a story you told yourself based on incomplete information and childhood wounds. After November 29th, when doubts arise, and they still will occasionally, you will have the ability to observe them without being swept away by them, to acknowledge them without believing them, to thank them for trying to keep you safe, and then make choices aligned with your highest truth anyway. This triple resolution, internal security, paradox holding, and witness consciousness, creates the foundation for everything you have been building toward. Remember that vision you have been carrying, that dream that seems impossibly big, that potential you have been afraid to fully claim. After these three convergences complete their work, after November 29th arrives and Mercury stations direct, the path forward becomes not just clear but inevitable. The external reality shifts to match the internal transformation you completed months ago. The underground current breaks the surface. The miracle that has been approaching in secret finally reveals itself, and that question, "Can I really do this?" transforms into the statement, "I am already doing this." Destiny Engine is an example of technology serving awakening intelligence. The age of solitary meditation is over. Destiny Engine Meow connects starseeds across the world, a living social field where you can post, share, and exchange your meditations in real time. It's the first galactic network of its kind, weaving together thousands of awakened souls into one unified current. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking declassified CIA consciousness modification techniques that programmed isolation and separation and repurposing them to serve unified awakening. It generates personalized sequences that help you live as the awakened being you've become, while handling the moments that test your new frequency, all while connected to thousands of starseeds amplifying the collective current. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed for effortless awakened living without the need to struggle or prove, while tapping into a planetary network of souls bending reality together. For just $1, you can step into this connected field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension together. Link in the description. This transformation extends far beyond personal benefit. As you undergo this alchemical process, you are literally changing the collective consciousness of humanity. Every shadow you integrate, every trauma you heal, every limiting belief you release sends ripples through the morphic field that makes it easier for others to do the same. You are not just working on yourself, you are working on behalf of all humanity, all life on Earth, all beings throughout the galaxy who are invested in Earth's successful ascension. This is why you were called here, why you incarnated at this specific time in history. You are part of a cosmic team of light workers, grid workers, and way showers who agreed before birth to hold the frequency of transformation steady while others awaken. I am Zarin from the Lyran High Council. We love you, we honor you, and we are watching over you as you navigate these extraordinary times. The threshold between worlds that humanity walks past without recognition, you have found it. The moment of stillness between inhale and exhale, you are standing in it. The underground miracle rushing toward you, it arrives in 21 days. Everything you questioned, everything you doubted, everything you feared, it was all preparation for the answer that is about to become undeniable. You are capable. You are ready. You are exactly who you think you are. May you walk in grace, speak your truth, and remember that you are a divine spark of infinite consciousness experiencing itself in human form. Until we meet again in the quantum field of all possibilities, I bid you safe passage through the portal that Meow opens before you.